Jake Busey, and you're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Berges. On today's show, we're going to be talking about spiritual healing. We're going to be talking about medicine, about being able to overcome a lot of issues in our life, and people that actually do this on a day-to-day basis. You know, we know about traditions. We've heard about the Toltecs. We've heard about medicine men. But have you ever actually met one in real life? Well, I had the chance to interview somebody that I'm very happy to be able to have on the radio today. I call him my brother. He is part of the circle of elders. He is a Toltec. I'm so glad to have him. How are you doing?
I'm very happy to be here with you in the radio.
Tell our listeners your Toltec name.
Yeah, my name is Tlahuizcalpantecutli. That's my tradition name. I'm on the medicine elders in our Indian town, in the archaeological site that I was born, in Teotihuacan. It's the state of Mexico. And my Catholic name is Ricardo Cervantes Cervantes. And I've been teaching all of this tradition in the school and all over. I've been teaching all my tradition, all about the medicine, because we want to preserve this beautiful history and this beautiful tradition. We want to teach all of this magic medicine to the young guys, because we don't want them to suffer in the future.
I find what you do extremely powerful, and this is a tradition, obviously, a Toltec tradition. How far back does this go?
Well, our tradition go from about 450 years BC to 700 AD. Is the time when our ancestors lived the archaeological place. But they arrived there because the area of Teotihuacan is a beautiful area. It's surrounded by big mountains, and it's just a beautiful when you get up to the mines of the obsidian, and you will see a beautiful guardians of the mountains take care of the beautiful water lakes, rivers. It's incredible, that area. If one day you go and somebody want to go there, you're going to be my guest.
I can't wait, and I think it's amazing what you do. And so you've been working with this tradition since the beginning. Tell me, how was it like growing up as a child?
Well, my grandfather, my father, they were artisans. They work with the clay, and they make urns. They make a lot of idols, and they were alfareros. I don't know the word in English, but anyway, alfareros means that they were the one who make a lot of cazuelas, a lot of urns to cook the mole and all that real Mexican typical food. So I'm very happy to learn from them, and I feel very proud to be an Indio. And I come here just to talk to the people and sharing how beautiful is our indigenous tradition and our history.
With the indigenous traditions and the history and the healing process involved, what do you see a lot of people as they go through the traditions, as you walk them through it? What do they learn?
Especially when they go inside to the circles, they learn to be humble, number one. And when they listen to the drums and to the music and the arts, and when they see the icon of the pyramids, they most connected, and they feel very, very blessing from the ancestors' architectonic pyramids, because all of our pyramids is showing us that there is a beautiful, perfect flower of geometry and medicine healing there through the medicine of energy. We talk about energy. And it's nice when you get up to the pyramids, you see the whole valley, and it's a beautiful teaching us that everything was symmetric, and there is a beautiful pyramid. There's a nice pyramid that we call the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon. So that's the houses of the stars there. So when you see the universe and when you see the Mother Earth, you really connect with the beauty of life among your life.
I find it powerful because I think a lot of times living in cities and living around, we don't get enough outside environmental time. We don't get to actually get out there and feel. We're connected with the concrete and we're stuck in the buildings. And I think that a lot of times we lose sight as to what we're doing here on this planet.
Yeah, it's just magic to listen to the elders when they are speaking to you. about the beauty of the nature, of the trees, about the water lakes, about the rivers, about the caves that we have there in the archaeological pyramids. It's just interesting that because that's the way how you're going to give the respect to the whole nature, and that's the way how we've been working on to the medicine plants. So I think it's a beautiful message when you are walking through the archaeological pyramids there, especially Teotihuacan. There's a lot of people that we have in our country. There are 62 different Indian groups, and Teotihuacan, I think, is one of the examples that we can use for the future generation, that we can live in a perfect equilibrium with the nature and the water. So that's the message I can tell the people, that if they listen to us, to the elders, so we're going to have a beautiful road, sharing seeds of love and compassion to everybody.
You know, when you're thinking about like life lessons, and I think that I've talked about on the radio a lot, I talk about on my show about how one of the most important things we can do is to learn how to love ourselves unconditionally, learn how to accept ourselves. And until we figure that out, nobody's going to be able to love us because we aren't going to see what's within us. Do you find that that's something that's highly important, and that when people are able to go through the tradition, they can actually find that within themselves?
Yeah, there is no doubt. When they go to our ceremonies among the mountains and among the archaeological sites, they're going to have the connection, really, because they see the beauty, how the mountains showing to ancestors that they can be in contact, and the body of the mountain is exactly the body of the pyramid. So there is nothing different between the mountains and the pyramids. The mountains give us the beauty of the nature. And when they go, when we go there, when they go, if they want to go, they will find a lot of beautiful things waiting for them, especially the respect of the nature, which is part of us.
I think also it's interesting how we can feel like we are detached or divided from other people. What are your thoughts on being able to help people figure out that we're all part of the same?
Yeah, there is no doubt. We are under the universe. We are over the Mother Earth. We breathe the air. We drink the water. And the sun is hot all the days in the morning. So we just have to say thank you to the nature elements. And that's the way how we can see the other ones, the other people, like brothers and sisters. Nothing is different between each other except the geographical point, location that we were born. But everybody is brothers and sisters. They're here all over. It's a good place for prayer, and it's a good place for sharing all of this beauty of life.
As a spiritual healer, what do you find are some of the ailments that people come to you with?
The most important thing that we do there is just taking them to the mountains, taking them to the caves, taking them to the rivers, taking them to the water lakes, and we just show them there is a lot of beautiful nature, trees, plants, flowers, animals, and we made them to connect with all of them. So there is interesting that when they see and they see the beautiful valley totally covered with plants and medicine, flowers. We made them. That's how we do. We made them to smell. We made them to touch the trees and the leaves. We made them to feel the energy walking all the way through the mountains, through the water, rivers, clothes, and all that. So I think when we teach them how to feel, how to appreciate, is the time when they have the medicine immediately. Just to tell them that they are part of that. They are part of that, and the medicine is waiting for all of them. So we have to go to the mountains. We have to give the attention. We give attention to the beauty of the parks and all that. You just sitting down for a while. You can meditate. You can breathe all the medicine power and smell, and that's part of the way how we can heal in the people when they are ill. There is a lot of things that we can have there. We can find it, but we need to open our heart and walk to the places and to the mountains, and we can find the medicine. We have a beautiful place that we named Temazcal. Temazcal is a beautiful house of steam house. There is a place also where we use a medicine, a lot of beautiful plants, and we make a tea out of the plants, and we take the people inside, and they started to sweat, and we started to sing, we started to play the seashells, we started to play the drums, and in that moment, your spirit feel in your body that is going to make the transcendation in another spiritual level with the steam in, with the medicine tea, and it's incredible. It's just magic. Because our people teaching to do that. So we have that temazcales, and that's the way how we've been healing the people to the saunas, to the steam bath. We call it temazcal. Temazcal means a steam bath, steam house. And there is the place that all the elders teaching us that when we walk to the mountains, we have to ask the permits to the plants, to the trees, when we get the plant, the leaves of them. And that's interesting, that if you ask the permits, they're going to healing you.
So it's kind of like all those aspects, and the environmental aspects, the feeling, the spiritual connection, the medicine, but also the continuity and the unity of the group, right? So when you have all these people together, unified to really just connect without, preconceived notions or without ego, it really brings the group together. How do you feel about the ego in general? Because I think that a lot of times we hide behind our ego, and our ego keeps us from living our authentic life.
Yeah, well, we really suggest them never left to be who they are, because if they left who they are, they're going to lose the energy. It's not necessary to compare against anybody that's on the right or anybody that's on the left. You have to be who you are, and that's the way how you can teach the people how to plow the earth and plant the seeds of corn and beans, and that's the way how they're going to follow you. And we don't need to carry the egoism, and we don't need to carry the scare, and we just teach them that we can be all together, and we can walk on one of the roads of love and sharing energy. And that's the way how we can make the people be happy. Just to tell them that we are equal. We have, every one of us has their own mission. This is something nice. You are a doctor, or somebody's a professor, or somebody's in engineering, and I'm a planter of seeds. So I'm the one who's going to feed you, and you are the one who's going to teach me how to make my house. So we have to understand that. So nobody's better than the other one, because if you compare against the one on the right, if you find out that he's better than you, you're going to feel bad. If you compare to the one on the left, you're going to feel bad when you're uncovering that he don't know what you think he knows. And that's the way how you started to fight against your ego, against your energy lower. So it's better to know and to teach them that we are just equal with different and beautiful mission that we come to the earth to sharing and to make it.
I agree with you. Comparison does steal the joy out of life when we compare, right? Isn't it amazing how it can just tear you down emotionally?
Yeah, it's better don't do that. It's better don't compare, and just show to the people your real spirit.
How do you work with people, or I know that, as you're working with folks spiritually, how do you guide them into beginning to not compare themselves? Because I know that for most people, that's a way of life.
Yeah, we take them to the mountains, especially, and we take them to the caves, and we giving them a fire, and the elements. It's part of them, and that's how we tell them to look the shadow. I have my shadow; they have their shadow, and it's going to be the same mirror of teaching. So that's very important when they know who they are and they know how to see the shadow, and they're going to see the shadow of the one on the right or the one on the left, and they will see that they are the same, because we are living in the same universe and the same Mother Earth, and it's not necessary to compare, just to sharing love and good, healthy, good energy, and be brothers and sisters. That's it.
Powerful. Well, I know that you've also entertained some what people would call pretty famous folks on this planet. Is that interesting to come into contact with some of those people that, they're just like you and I, but I mean David Bowie, almost every single rock band that's ever played ever, has been a part of coming up to the mountains with you, coming up into the pyramids with you, and experiencing that. I bet that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, when these brothers and come to our archaeological pyramid, they feel very happy to know that they were people very intelligent. They were people with a lot of knowledge, with a lot of wisdom. And I think they connected with the geometry of the architectonic pyramids, and they just accept that they are part of the wisdom people. So it's interesting that because when we sharing them the pyramids, when we take them up to the Pyramid of the Sun and to Pyramid of the Moon, they really feel that energy and that blessing. So no matter who they are, but there's something like I can say like a Sting, like Phil Collins, like David Bowie, like Mick Jagger. All of these guys, when they go there, they just feel a blessing. They just feel a lot of energy, and they think that energy of the pyramid is blessing them, and they have a wonderful time. Like Katy Perry, she said that one of the most beautiful life day that he has in the earth was to go to the pyramids and find a real Toltec Indio, which is gorilla.
Gorilla, that is you. I love your nickname, Gorilla. You were telling me earlier, tell me a little bit to our audience. When you were a kid, you fell down a well. Tell us about that.
Yeah, when I was a little kid, I just walked around the farm, and I don't know what happened if I lost the road and I fall down in a well, and I was there 3 nights, 4 days, and I don't know. When I wake up, I just saw a big tunnel over me, and the God blessed it to me because there were a lot of animals in the well, and I thought they were going to eat me, but they don't hurt me until this moment. I can tell you that. I can tell to the people all over the world, I don't kill any insect because they protect me. They give that a beautiful medicine, no scare, because that's something nice. When my mother, my father, and the elders find me in the world, they get me out, and they say, wow, this little boy has something to do in his life, and that's why they have the power of a gorilla. That's why they call me Gorilla, because they really don't believe that I fall down at 33 meters deep, and they find me there in a good shape, but with my skull broke, and everybody were very happy when they find me there, and I'm here just doing what the God tell me to do. My mission is just sharing the medicine and sharing the happiness, and I'm sharing love to them, and I'm healing them like that. Having the corn face, like say to you, good afternoon. I put my smelling,
yes,
like that, and I'm very happy to know who I am, El Indio Gorilla, and I tell the people, so take care of all your family. That's important also. The base of the beautiful blessing is just to know your family. That's the most beautiful foundation of life. If you know yourself and you know your family, there is no doubt that you can share in a lot of beautiful love and a lot of beautiful understanding. That's important, to understand the other people, the neighbors, friends on the road. Say good morning, say goodbye, it's giving them a blessing. It doesn't make you to change your life, who you are. And that's how we have to be in all the time life when we pass in the earth.
I love that story. Obviously it's scary as a child to fall down a well, but to break your skull and to still be alive and to be thriving as you are, obviously, you have an obvious purpose. And I think all of us on this planet have a purpose. It's just harder for some people to find it, to find their purpose. And you grasped onto this purpose, and you do it every day of your life, which is so powerful. So Gorilla, we talked about Katy Perry, we got Sting, we got all these folks that are coming up there, everybody that's being able to use this type of medicine. You also play the flute.
Yeah, I do. That's the way how I given the community and teaching them that the music and the sound of the instruments is a very, very nice and good energy.
So when you're playing, is there specific things that you play? I know that you actually have a flute here in studio. Would you be willing to play some music for us?
Yes, of course. Yeah, we're gonna make a beautiful sound, and I'm gonna make a blessing for all the people that are listening to us in this moment. This sound I'm gonna pray is the spirit of eagle taking us to a good moment and a good healing.
Awesome. Okay, let me get the microphone set up so we can make sure we get this proper. So here we go with the spirit of the eagle medicine. Ready. That was beautiful. That really connected with me spiritually. Your music is powerful. How long have you been playing?
I play every time the spirit tells me to healing people.
And when did you start playing?
I started when I was 17 years old. I started to learn from all the elders, and they delivered to me that a beautiful instrument, and the one we name chirimia. Chirimia is a flute, and I think I started to use that, and now I think I do as a healing, not like a concert. This is something different. I use the instrument, the sound of this beautiful flute, just to go inside the spirit of the heart and the soul, and that's the way how the people feel, and they can feel that vibration of the sound. So we know that the sound is the most beautiful medicine that we have to share into to our brothers and sisters, because when you say to them "I love you," means that you are given energy and good blessing. And when you don't say that kind of beautiful words, you can hurt people. So it's better to know when you're going to healing them and sharing that beautiful sound from your heart, from your spirit, and then they're going to feel your brothers and your sisters. That's how I do.
Yeah, because a lot of times we don't realize the power of our words. That we don't realize the power of what we say, and some of the things that we say can be very cruel, and it can hurt people. And so I think a lot of times we really do need to take a step back before we say something, realizing that you really can't take anything back. You can apologize, but you can't really ever erase it.
Right.
And so I know you were telling me earlier, you said, you have to be really aware of what you say. And it's better to have a smile than a frown, for sure.
Yeah, because in all the paintings, in all the icon of the murals that we have found in Teotihuacan, has a beautiful icon in front of the mouth of the pictures of the mural icon that go like in a small spiral. So that means that it's this sweet flower sound. If you use that, you're going to make your brother or your sister happy. But if you speak loud, you're going to make them scared of your sound word. So I think it's the level of the sound is how you're going to go into the heart and healing them. That's why we play the drums. That's why we play the seashells. That's why we use in our food some coyoles that make the sound of the serpent, and that's why we use the stones making sounds like a snake rattles. So the sound, in other words, it's a vibration that our ancestors used to go inside of the spirit body, and I think it's the way how we want to make the perfect balance of our vibration in the body. And when somebody feel that, they know that we are healing them through the music. Even though when we dance, we use the feathers like an insulation energy. So the feathers that we use in the Quetzalcoatl in our head is the way how we do understand. It's like antenna to receive the energy. And we just move with all these magic movements, insulating the energy. And somebody, it has a little pain. We put them in the circle close to the drums, listen to all the whole instruments, and that's how the vibration make the body in perfect level and healing them.
Sound healing.
Yeah,
that's
sound,
powerful.
Music healing, sound. That's why we have to be careful when we speak to somebody. Don't say nothing loud and don't say nothing strong, because you can destroy the heart. It's better to talk to them nice and sweetly, with love, with the symbol of a flower. And that's the way how you can get their respect to them, and they're going to respect you. There's a perfect equilibrium to find a holy road of life and love.
So I have a question for you. What's on the horizon? I know that you're traveling all over the world. You're spreading the word all over the world. What are some of the things that you're working on right now? I know you've been in a film as well. What are some of the things that are on your horizon that you're working on right now? So
I'm trying to teaching all the people in the school, especially in the school. I would like to plant these seeds of knowledge to the kids, because they are the future generation that are going to take care of our mother earth, and they're going to take care of the water, rivers, the lakes of water. So if we teach them how to respect, if we teach them how don't dirty the rivers, don't dirty the water lakes or the sea, we are sure that we're going to give them and we're going to share in them how to have a beautiful life among the mountains. I think that's my mission. I think is my mission. I come here just to share in all of this beautiful knowledge, the one we named the philosophy of the Toltecs. This is part of the philosophy that we have. We have to know where we're coming from. For example, that's one of the main point. If you know where we're coming from, there's no doubt you know where you're going to go. And you have to listen to the elders, mom, father, because if you listen, you'll learn, and you know how to teach all of that beautiful energy. But if you don't listen, you don't have nothing to teach them. That, I think it's very interesting, that. And when you are loyalty, when you don't like the people, and when you are loyalty of yourself and use the truth, you're going to open the door of belief. And that's the way how you're going to get that education at home. And you can give all the education to all the people by the example. That's something that we use. El ejemplo, the example through the mirror. You tell the people who you are, but you have to show them by the actions. You have to show them by the example. And that's the way how we are going to spread all of these beautiful seeds of respect. And we're going to make the humanity all over the world to be together in a perfect harmonic, and you can be freedom. I think that's one of the elements that we need to teach the kids, because the elders, they already do what I know. They already been teaching me, and I feel very proud to know where I come from, and I know where I'm going to go now. That's why I'm here in this beautiful state. That's why I'm here in Dallas, because I come here to teach all the community and through the example. So be humble, be honest, because your kid's going to look you. That's something very interesting that I have improved that when I have 2 grandkids, and when they look at me and they say, hey, granddaddy, abuelo, I want to be like you. And I say, yeah, you have to listen to your father. Yeah, I want to be like my father, and I want to say thank you to you, grandabuelo, because you've been teaching to my father beautiful things, and I want to be like you. I feel very proud. So we sharing all of this education, all of the attention. That's something that doesn't cost nothing. If we give the attention and listen to kids, they will say you thank you. And that word is very beautiful. When they say thank you, grandfather, thank you, grandmom, thank you, daddy. I'm going to go make my homework, so don't worry. I'm going to make my homework. And I think that's the beautiful thing. Teaching them to have the responsibility, to don't lie, to respect the elders, to respect their friends in the schools, don't hurt them. And I think it is going to be one of the nicest things that we are doing here. I come here to share in all of these beautiful seeds of energy and love for the future of our Mother Earth and our Father Universe.
Wow, it's powerful. I can't wait to go meet you at some point on your tour of the world, because you have a lot ahead of you. But I believe in the process, and I believe in what you stand for, because I stand for the same thing. And I think that the tradition that you have and the honor that you create and the power that you're radiating just in the studio is very powerful. And I think people will really get to not only understand, but really be able to feel what you're talking about, because it's not about telling people how to be, it's about walking the walk. It's about showing them. Lasting thoughts for our listeners. I definitely want you to come back, so I hope you come back. Will you come back on the show?
Yeah.
Okay. But lasting thoughts for the folks out there, just one thought that you think very powerful that you want to leave them with today.
It's real important to find out that the elders give us life, and our father and our mom. So it's very important to know where we're coming from. And the tree is going to hug with a lot of beautiful love. And you know where you are going to go. That's for sure. No matter where you're coming from, be proud and find the happiness. That's the only thing costs absolutely nothing.
Powerful stuff. Well, I can't wait to have you back in studio. Thank you so much for spending time with me.
Thank you very much for giving the attention. I'm just very happy to share in all of this beautiful sound that come from my heart and my spirit, like an Indio gorilla.
Thank
God
you.
bless in all of you.
Wonderful interview with Gorilla. I thought was powerful and calming. I think that many of us are on the road to self-discovery, in the middle of the road, been on the road for a long time, but definitely taking that journey. And I think it's a powerful journey. It's really the only journey that we can honestly take. Everything else, to me, is not a true journey. I find that many people are trying to understand other people. They're trying to understand their parent, their spouse, their boyfriend, their girlfriend, their wife, their husband, and that's important. But until we understand ourselves, we don't have clarity. It is of the utmost importance that we take the time to begin to realize not only who we are, what we stand for, our morals, our ethics, and our beliefs, right? But also who we are as an individual, being able to understand ourselves, connect with ourselves, and ultimately, unconditionally love ourselves. And until we can do that, everything else is kind of like window shopping, right? You can see it, but you can't touch it. You really don't know what it feels like. You have an idea of what it looks like, but you really don't know. And I find that very interesting, because I think that a lot of people are kind of going through the motions. They're going through the motions when it comes to this. And when we go through the motions, I find that, well, one, we waste our time because we're going through the motions. I mean, pretty obvious. Two, we never really get in deep and in that deep concentration, understanding, and gathering of information. And last but not least, we really don't really know anything very deeply. We just kind of know a handful of things. And I found that, I guess it was for me, over 20 years ago when I began to really get to know myself. And it was a powerful experience because I didn't realize how kind of misguided I had become or was. And we can only be as good, I think, to a degree as we are raised, because our parents tell us stuff, they explain to us stuff, they teach us things, we learn from them. We learn the limitations, I think, of our life, even though those are all not real, but we take them in as real, and we live by those limitations until we decide that they're not any longer going to represent us as far as limitations. Also, we live a life based on, what we're told that we can and what's important. And I think many of us were raised in a household where there was two parents, and not everybody was, and not everybody was raised by two straight parents either. I'm not trying to put any sort of limitations. Some people, the father was not present. Some people, the mother was not present. But what I'm saying is that for the majority, I think we saw a husband-wife combination. And for the majority, we saw a very codependent relationship. We might have even saw a little bit of mental illness, but we didn't really understand what we were seeing. And so basically, we saw that as being our normal. We saw that as being normal, right? We don't know the difference between, as growing up, normal versus healthy, okay? And so it's interesting when we go through our life and we deal with what we think is normal, right? Well, it's normal to us, but it's not healthy. We get farther and farther away from our true identity. And the reason why I wanted Gorilla in studio is because he connects with the authentic self. He helps people to connect with their authentic self, right? Because it's not about pomp and circumstances. It's not all about the way things look, the glitz and glam. Quite opposite, actually. It's actually about what's inside, being able to accept what's inside, knowing what's inside, accepting what's inside, loving what's inside, and changing the things that we need to change, embracing those things, letting them go, embracing the things that we love about ourselves, and ultimately seeing that true value of ourselves. It's not an egotistical thing. It's not a narcissistic thing. It's about being able to understand our value as a human being and being able to understand the value of other human beings and the animals and the plants. And I feel that many folks don't ever get to the fact of the spiritual healing. And what I mean by that is, I'm not trying to be, out of the stratosphere when I talk about it, but what I am speaking of is that we are on a planet right now, by the way. I don't know. I'm going to just go on and give y'all the 1 minute elevator speech about where we are right now. So we're on a planet right now. It's a round planet. It's not a flat planet. And it's called Earth or Gaia or whatever you'd like to call it. And we're spinning through space, right? And we're rotating around a sun, or our sun is rotating. We have a moon. We have one moon on this planet. And so we're kind of hurling through space at quite a rapid rate. We have the use of gravity on this planet, so that's kind of cool. But we are spirit people, right? We're spirits, right? In human bodies. And the human bodies are like the cars that we drive, right? So we have the human body, it gets us around from point A to point B. That's how we walk around, we talk, we do all those great things. And so it's a spirit being in a human body, right, that we've rented on a planet that's hurling through space. So now that we figured that out, so when I'm talking about spiritual healing, I'm talking about we have to connect to that higher resonation of who we are, okay? I know that a lot of people would like to look at it as that we're just this three-dimensional being. We are born in this world, we die, that's it. That's just not the way that I'm ever going to see my life ever. I've done a lot of soul searching. I've had a lot of come to Jesus conversations. I've almost died on the operating table multiple times. So when you've gone through that, you know the reality of what we're dealing with here. At least to some degree, you have a good idea. And I know that many people that have been listening to the show for a long time, you connect with the deeper resonation of what we're doing here. I know some folks, it might be a little scary, it might be a little overwhelming. I get it, but the truth has to be spoken, And so when we're talking about this healing, we have to heal from the inside out. And I know that a lot of us have dealt with abuse, neglect. We've dealt with, mental, maybe emotional manipulation, abuse, and maybe even physical abuse. And so we have to overcome these types of issues before we can really grow spiritually, because otherwise, what are we doing? We're sweeping the issue under the rug. We're not taking care of ourselves. We're not trying to heal the wounds. We're not trying to forgive ourselves for being in the situation, because we have to. And I know that people say, well, I never even thought about that. I was in this horrible situation, and, I've kind of dealt with it. I've forgiven the folks involved, but have you really forgiven yourself for being there? And I think most people forget about themselves as far as forgiveness in those situations. So it's definitely something that we need to be aware of. But one of the things that I think is interesting by talking to Gorilla, a medicine man, a Toltec, is that when we go back to our roots, right? When we go back to even nature, we're able to really connect and thrive while being natural and in an environment where there is no judgment. Nobody is better than anyone else. We're all there to help one another. And if you really think about it, if you're living in a healthy dynamic and you're surrounded by healthy people, you should feel that more often than not, right? You should feel pretty good about things. You should feel healthy about things. You should feel good about the people that you're around. Now, some of us might not be choosing the right people to spend time with, okay? We might be choosing people that might be using, lying, manipulating, because remember, we can only be at our highest level by our weakest link, okay? So what I mean by that is, for example, somebody's weakest link could be another person. Somebody's weakest link could be the things that they haven't dealt with about themselves. Some people's weakest link could be drugs or alcohol, gambling, sex addiction, whatever that is. Somebody's weakest link could actually be their spouse. It could be their codependency to their spouse. And so we can only be as good as the weakest link. It's just like society. Our society can only be as solid as the least educated person, right? And that's why education is so important, is that without education, we don't have a society that can thrive, okay? When you have people that are undereducated, it's not helpful because the big picture is not seen, okay? And the same thing is on a spiritual level. We can only be as a planet, we can only be as spiritually fit as the least spiritually fit person as far as united together, okay? And I think that's a big thing. I think one of the neatest things, too, about the medicine and the healing is to remind us that, color, race, creed, all that stuff means absolutely nothing. We get real. Getting real in the Whole Foods parking lot. We got to get real here, There was a song that was made, Getting Real in the Whole Foods parking lot. I love that song. It's about getting real, though. We got to get real. It's getting tiring being in a planet where people are constantly lying or BSing themselves over things that hold no water. There comes a time where we have to get real about what matters, what's valuable, and what's not, okay? And there's going to be a time where there's going to be a great divide. There's going to be a great divide soon. Because eventually, people either have to connect with the highest good, right? Or they don't. And I believe that most people that listen to Live Your True Life Perspectives wants to be the best they can possibly be, the best version of them. And that's why I called the book Live Your True Life. It's not about living someone else's life. It's not about living the best version you think you've seen or the way you were raised. It was about living your truth, okay? And the highest level of living is only based on truth. It's not based on what you're told you can do. It's not based on what you've seen you can do. It's based on connecting with your heart and at your highest good, being authentically pure. So if you're living your true life, right, we're living the life that we were destined to live without limitation, historical negative beliefs. And that's why it's so important to really think about it from that way. And if you want to ask yourself some questions, some of the best things you can do right now is ask yourself, how am I being true to myself? Are there areas of my life where I'm not being honest with myself? Is there things about my life that I'm lying to myself about? Are there things that I'm lying to others about? Do I really know who I am, or am I going through the motions? I think that many people say, I don't have purpose. I lack purpose. Well, you lack purpose because you don't have understanding of who you are. Because once you understand who you are, you will understand why you're here. Okay, but you have to understand the who you are first. There is no other way out. It's who you are will help you to understand why you're here. Okay, and so if we can get there, we can have a lot of clarity and understanding, and the questions begin to stop and the answers begin to come in more prolifically to help you understand who you are. And it's the ultimate in understanding. And so that's why, asking yourself these questions, what do I stand for? What are my beliefs? And I want you to get past the way you were raised. You are not a carbon copy of your mother or father. Your mother and father were taught as much as they were by their mother and father or whoever they were raised by. Okay? And so they could only know as much as they know. And so why not throw away the shackles of limited knowledge and finally gain the knowledge that you need to know by letting go of preconceived notions and beliefs and teachings that no longer serve you? And the best thing that you can do is ask yourself those questions. It's not about historical record. Who are you? What do you stand for? What are your beliefs? What are your morals? What are your values? But better yet, really looking at yourself, are you standing up for yourself? Are you actually being who you are? And the one thing that I started asking myself years and years ago, I figured out that I had no boundaries in my life. I allowed other people to walk all over me. I was codependent. I didn't want people to leave me, so I would just agree to whatever, which it ended up hurting me in the end. And I realized that I was scared to let people go because I was fearful of having nobody. I was fearful of being alone. And so I'd rather be around stuff that I didn't even want to be around instead of being alone. And that was getting in the way of my personal development. And I began to embrace myself and realize that when I was with myself, I was never alone. Okay. And that's a big thing because it's like being by yourself means that you're not alone. I mean, because when we say we're alone, that means that we're not taking ourselves into consideration. Like we're not counting us. We're not like a +1 here. We're just a 0, which I can't agree with. And so if you find yourself being ultra lonely or fearful of letting someone go who is violent to you or negative or abusive, I really want you to begin to analyze the situation and check yourself, because if we can let go of that fear and begin to build you up and understand the value of who you are, you can let go of the lowest common denominator that's actually holding you down. Gorilla has agreed to come back on the show, and I can't wait to have him back. I ultimately love his music. I mean, he's an amazing musician, and I plan to go visit him soon and talk about the adventures and have him back on the show to discuss those adventures as well. In the meantime, be true to yourself. Be honest with yourself. Get that journal and start writing your thoughts and feelings out and start seeing who you are. Remember, we need to be our best friend. We come in this world on our own and we leave on our own. And that's why it's so important to get to know ourselves. We are the most valuable person we can know on our own. Once we understand ourselves and love ourselves unconditionally, we can do that for everybody else on the planet. I hope this show has helped you. Please share with your family, your friends, and anybody that you think might connect with this message. And don't forget to live your true life. And Live Your True Life Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Berges, will be back in. I'll be back this time in 3 shakes.